Good morning. First thing first, and let me get this out of the way because last time I didn't. I ended up talking about something else. Right, let me come out of the sun so you can look at my skin. Right, can you see my... Whoops, nearly tripped over something there. Right, you can see my skin, right? So that's after 12 hours of... I spent 12 hours doing my hair, 12 hours doing my skin. But at the same time I was sewing and listening to football all day. Listening and watching, actually. So there is this thing that people like to say to me: you're lucky, you have good genes. I've done these videos before and so on. So what I've been doing, I've been sharing the videos while I'm in the process of doing my skin, so that we can dispel that myth about luck. It is actually time spent, and you end up with what you invest in. That's how it usually works. Right, so anyway, let me jump straight into what I am actually going to talk about. I'm going to actually talk about two things, actually. Let me get the other one out of the way. So I'm out. So I was lying there and it was very gloomy. Check the forecast and it's supposed to be gloomy all day with some rain. And I didn't quite fancy going out, basically, when it's looking like that. So what I have decided to do, as soon as I saw the sun come out, I decided to go out. There aren't going to be very many more days of sunshine, given that we're going into deepest midwinter soon. So when the sun comes out, I take the opportunity, and it's actually quite warm. I am not going out for anything related to myself. I'm going to the market to buy sea moss for my sister. As I was leaving just now, because I'm getting my case together, because I'm gonna turn the screw on the social worker and the one previous, the one who came to the flat and accused me of lying when she wanted to isolate my sister. So, isolate her. So I needed to go outside. So she's going to isolate her and ask her questions as to how she is being treated. But I always make sure I have witnesses. And I kept the various correspondences and so forth. And these will come back. You see, people don't necessarily keep track of the things they say and do. But I do that, because it will come in handy for future reference. So this, I've already documented it anyway, as regards the stranger that mother picked up shortly before she died and basically left all her earthly belongings for her to administer. And it turns out, I'm speaking to my brother briefly yesterday, that this stranger is making herself very scarce. But what I did yesterday, I don't want to go into too many details, but let's just say that I'm not adverse to using blackmail tactics. I'm a horrible person when I choose to be, and I know what cards to play when I need to play them. So it is in the interest of whoever I speak to do something about it. Otherwise, they will have something to answer for as well. In other words, I've got something on all of them. Right, so going back now to my sister, I'm only going out the road to pick up the sea moss for her with my money. And if you think her wicked, evil mother left a trust fund for her and that's only to be used if the care package ends. So I contacted the agency yesterday and asked them what kind of care package does she have. I know it's not the full care package because I do everything and nobody is paying me for that. So, and as well, like I said, I'm gonna go now and spend £15 of my money to buy something for her. And I'm supposed to be working. I've got quite a bit to do. But instead I'm on the road going to the market to spend my money. But it's not about the going to the market. It's not about spending the money. It's just to make the point that, often my sister, more often than not, my sister consumes more of my resources, namely my time and my money, than I consume on myself. So anyway, that is just for the record. And these things and more will come out in due course. But anyway, so the main thing now that I want to talk about is men, glorious men. Now, I am 56 years and 8 months old. And I've never been married. I don't have children. And I'm happy. Most people would try to persuade you that you can't be. I don't know if I'm not sure if that still holds today, because I guess many of the people from back in the day who all they dreamed of was getting married, many of them are now divorced, and a shadow of their former selves. Some perhaps have trauma, mental illness or whatever as a consequence of their experience. And I sometimes joke that if anybody should be having mental problem, it's me, given the circumstances in which I have found myself these past 2.5 years. But it's not, for me, it's not what goes on around me, it's what's going on internally, which is why I went for a walk the other morning, Wednesday morning at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, to regenerate my energy, to get my good energy back. So imagine, if you will, having someone in your life on a permanent basis who is not your equal, because you see, the only time I get bad energy is when I encounter people or have conversation, exchanges with people who bring that, sort of energetically, that's what they bring. So imagine being stuck in an environment with somebody who's not your equal, right? So that is what you're going to get, wall-to-wall bad energy, because you can't escape it, right? So anyways, so here I am. Look at my skin. You get what you pay for, or rather you get back what you put in, if you like. Effort in, results out, right? So imagine being stuck in that kind of situation with someone who is not your equal, right? So not so often these days, because I don't really I don't go out much, and also I don't tend to, the time that I go out, I don't tend to see anybody. But from time to time, I will get some man, I don't know on what basis, I don't know what it is. I can only say that he likes the look of me, or he likes how I talk, or something. and he will sort of like pitch his hat into the ring. I don't need someone even to talk to me to know that they are not for me. So for example, there's this guy that I see regularly, and I can't say in what capacity because that will give the game away, but he one Sunday he turned up at my sister's flat at the buzzer rang, and I thought it was the carer. And what was my shock and horror when I saw this man coming up the stairs, coming to visit me. So I turned him away and said, well, you know, it's not convenient because I live with my sister and she is immobile and the place is a bit of a mess because I'm sewing. So I used that. And ever since, I mean, he stopped bothering me now. But I shouldn't say bothering me because he is polite the way he goes about it. But he no longer, wants to meet up or anything like that. Because whenever I see him, he knows that I'm busy. Right, so I can use the excuse of work and my sister till kingdom come. But that would be me being polite. But if it came down to it and a man was being persistent and he wanted to know why it is that I'm not interested in him, I could tell him chapter and verse. Why not? I posted earlier on Facebook. I went on the Tesco online shopping website and took screenshots of all the different breads that they sell. And I posted that on Facebook and said people put more thought into buying a loaf of bread than they do in shopping. Rather, they put more thought into shopping for bread than they do in shopping for love. And it is true, you know, because people will know whether they like white bread or brown bread, whether they like, I don't know, you know, they've got the seeded variety, all different types. They tend to know what type of bread they like. If they ask you to go and buy a loaf of bread for them, they would be able to tell you which one to get. But when it comes to I'm talking about men because I'm talking about my experience, but it applies with women as well. Back in the day when I used to go to church, I would get, I remember one woman asked me if there were any decent men there at the branch of church that I went to. And I asked her, what are you looking for? And she said, tall, black and handsome. And I said, you can find one of those anywhere. You don't need to find one of them in church if that's all you're looking for. And I think you get my point. But with me, even though I'm not deeply involved with anyone, as I've said, Wednesday morning at 3:30, 4 o'clock, I was out walking for an hour just to restore my peace. And that was following from a conversation with my sister in Canada who forwarded a message from a complete stranger who mother picked up by the wayside. In fact, I recorded the video for 40-minute video on YouTube. When I was out, I recorded and expressed what I had to say then. But imagine if that's from the outside coming in. Imagine what it's like from the inside and you're trapped with it. So, a person's behavior, the way a person approaches, can tell you what they are like. If they resort to deceitful tactics to win you, So, for example, I was having, doing, finishing off my hair because I also spent 12 hours doing my hair. So I finished rinsing it, was drying it with a towel, and just kind of winding up, finishing off for the night. When I got a WhatsApp message, "Hi, how are you doing? Blah, 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 where are you?" So I said, "Well, I'm sewing," the typical. And this conversation carried on over into this morning. Now, the gentleman asked me, he said he wanted to support my business. And I said it doesn't work like that. I work to order. And then he wanted to come and consult with me about designs, etc. I said, "I don't do that. I just make them. You choose your fabric, you tell me what you want, and I make them." And then finally he cut to the chase. No, because he was asking me where am I based. And I didn't at first respond. But then he asked me again this morning, and I responded. And so he then went straight in, inviting me for a coffee. I don't drink coffee. I've never had a cup of coffee in my life. Don't drink tea, don't drink milk. There's certain things that I don't do. So he then was inviting me for coffee and a meal and all of this. Now that tells me that that person is deceitful because of the many ways that he went about getting to the point. A straightforward person would just come out with it. Even if they're shy, they would find a way around it. They would just say, "Maybe we can meet up sometime," or whatever, something. But I wouldn't go down the route of wanting to support your business, wanting to come and discuss designs and all this thing. So, make of that what you will. But that's why I thought you can always tell what people are about. A straightforward person isn't going to give you that kind of nonsense, and you're more likely to see through their character, whether they're a good person or not. If they're straightforward, you'll be able to see through them. Because you don't need to see through them. In fact, they will show you who they are. But it's the one who will go all around the houses and use all various tactics to get back to the point that you really want to watch out for. So I'm almost at the market and I'm struggling for air. So I'm gonna wind up here. But anyways, I think you get my point. So the skin isn't luck. That I apply myself and I get the results. My sister consumes more of my time and my resources than I spend on myself. But that's neither here nor there. It is what it is. And it is better to be single and happy than married and miserable. Because if you're in a trap with somebody and they are full of negativity, you've got that 24/7, and there's not going to be any way to escape it. So, well, there are ways to escape it, but we don't want to explore that. So anyway, you guys take care and have a good day, good weekend. Look after yourselves. Bye-bye.